focus this hour, viewers. This afternoon, the National Vice President of the BJP, Panda, in fact, put out a tweet that ruffled feathers across Bollywood. In fact, he said, and I quote, came across shocking threads documenting personal and business links of some Bollywood personalities with certain Pakistanis and NRIs with undeniable track record encouraging violence in Jammu and Kashmir, who have verifiable links to the ISI as well as the Pak army. He went on to state that I urge the patriotic Bollywood biggies to renounce themselves. In fact, Republic TV dug deeper and came across a man called Tony Ashai, who is now on social media as Tony Ashai identified himself as a Kashmiri American dedicated to Kashmir and its people. It turns out that this man, who is an architect based out of California, who designed Shah Rukh Khan's Boulevard in UAE as well, and who partnered with Gauri Khan for a project, has close links with Imran Khan. In fact, abuses the Indian army and allegedly is also linked to the separatist group as well. So clearly we are seeing the story getting certainly bigger. Now, links emerging, Bollywood links emerging with Pakistan as well. Let's go across to editor Niranjan joining us over the phone line. So certainly big updates coming in. Please share more details and light on this latest link that is being emerging between Shah Rukh Khan, Gauri Khan over a project of close links with Imran Khan now.
Yeah, the most important thing at this point is for us not to, Richa, also jump the gun but ask some relevant questions. The reason I'm saying that is because there has been a tweet by the BJP Vice President and a lot of BJP leaders are talking about it. There are many industry insiders who for long have been talking about the possible links between people who are linked to Pakistan, linked to the ISI, linked to the underworld, etc., etc. Now, this talk has been going on for many years, and you will also remember that visual from many decades ago where you saw popular Bollywood stars sitting alongside Dawood Ibrahim at cricket matches, etc., seen with him, spotted with him, taking pictures with him. I think there are some relevant questions that we need to ask. In the context of the Bollywood debate, one tweet that was put out today by the BJP Vice President Panda or Jai Panda, asking some very relevant questions of whether there were some people. Let me in fact read out that exact tweet so that we ask some questions. And this is the BJP Vice President Baijan Panda, who's a very senior politician. He's a very senior politician who has been, who's been around for over 2 decades as a politician, and he has tweeted saying that he's come across shocking threads documenting personal and business links of some Bollywood personalities with certain Pakistanis and NRIs with undeniable track record encouraging violence in Jammu and Kashmir, who have verifiable links to ISI and Pakistan army. I urge patriotic Bollywoodies to renounce them. Now, when you read a tweet like that, when the story first broke, even we were, curious about this particular link. Curious not because, we were surprised with what we had said, because there is absolutely nothing surprising in what Jai Panda has said. But he certainly some questions were relevant and pertinent, and some of those questions being, who are these Bollywood stars? Are they still in the business? Do they still have connections with anybody in Pakistan who's linked? Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong, Richa, if you ask me, there is absolutely nothing wrong in knowing Pakistani stars, in knowing Pakistani artists. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, what is the question that is being asked? The question is, are they Bollywood stars who have links with people in the Pakistani establishment, Pakistani army, who are also fomenting trouble in Kashmir? Now, that's the question that was being asked, whether there were some Bollywood stars who were hobnobbing or had links, personal or professional, with people who have an anti-India agenda. Now, like I said, once again, I'm making it very clear, Richa, I think the question is not whether you have friends in Pakistan, not whether you have friends who are artists or singers in Pakistan. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm saying again, there's absolutely nothing wrong if you have singers, actors as friends from Pakistan, because at one point of time there were many Pakistani artists who were part of the Indian Bollywood industry. Now, that's a thing of the past, but there is absolutely nothing wrong in having friends. But the question is, are there people in Bollywood who are working with Pakistani, pro-Pakistani, anti-India people with links like that? And there is a specific reference, and this reference was made by several people on Twitter today, and that is why we are asking those questions, because there are many prominent journalists who've also raised this issue. Now, there is one particular gentleman, and let me come straight to that point. His name is Tony Ashai. And this has been tweeted by many journalists as well, who've been asking questions of Tony Ashai. And there is no, Jai Panda himself has not named anybody, but there are many journalists who are questioning or making a reference to Tony Ashai. Now, who's Tony Ashai? Tony Ashai is a Kashmiri American. He calls himself a Kashmiri American. You just to look at his profile, and you will see that he has links with many people. Some people who are active and very much a part of the Pakistani establishment. People like Imran Khan. He's spotted with Imran Khan. He's spotted with Pakistani politicians, Pakistani ISI people, and he's also has reportedly some close business associations with some Bollywood actors. Now, this is a matter of record, because Tony Ashai himself, if you look at his Twitter feed, anti-India propaganda. Now, I want to read out some of the aspects of what Tony Ashai has been spewing on Twitter, and it's very important, because it's very important that we ask some pertinent questions, and those questions have to be asked. Like I said, once again, there is absolutely nothing wrong in having friends in Pakistan who are artists, who are singers, because they were once associated in Bollywood. But we're asking questions on whether you have connections, personal or professional, with Pakistani or pro-Pakistani elements who are spreading violence in India and spreading anti-India propaganda around the world. And are these Bollywood actors based in India, sitting in Mumbai or Delhi? Now, these are some of the pertinent questions that we are asking. Let me tell you about Tony Ashai, because some mentions have been made to Tony Ashai on Twitter, and many senior journalists are also questioning whether Tony Ashai is the man that Jai Panda was referring to. Tony Ashai calls himself a Kashmiri American. That's how he identifies himself on Twitter. Tony Ashai is an architect based out of California in America. Tony Ashai designed, and I'm only purely going by his Bollywood, his profile. He designed Shah Rukh Khan's Boulevard in UAE. Tony Ashai partnered with Gauri Khan for a project. It's a matter of public record. Tony Ashai has alleged links to the separatist group JKLF, and Tony Ashai is also seen in many pictures with Imran Khan. So it's very important not to make blind allegations, and I'm repeating, not to make blind allegations at this point and say that SRK or Gauri Khan have links. It is very wrong to do that, because it is important to ask pertinent questions on who Jai Panda was referring to, and ask some of those questions and find out if any of our Indian actors have links with Tony Ashai. Let me go across to Aishwarya. Aishwarya, it's like I said in the beginning, we're not saying you should not have Pakistani actors or singers as your friends. You're bound to have Pakistani singers and actors as your friends, because at one point or at many points in the past they've been a part of Bollywood. But we are saying, is there a link, or rather we're asking a pertinent question of if there are celebrities in Bollywood, elements in Bollywood, who have links with anti-India elements who are very active in Pakistan. Now, one name that has been suggested, not by us but many senior journalists, is that of Tony Ashai. Tony Ashai, just to give you an idea, Aishwarya, and you also know about Tony Ashai very much. He's partnered for a residential project in UAE with Shah Rukh, and this is purely going by what he said on Twitter. He teamed up for a designing project with Gauri Khan in 2015, and he's called Indian Army. In fact, he's taken on the Indian Army, calling Indian Army land grabbers. He's insulted the Indian flag. He lionizes terrorist Burhan Wani, and this is all on Twitter. We have the links, we have the pictures, and we're just purely going by what's available on the social media. Tony Ashai also peddles fake news against the army. Tony Ashai has plotted against India with Pakistan actively, and in fact yesterday there was a tweet of Tony Ashai saying, why aren't Kashmiris coming out on the street and protesting? He wants Kashmiris to pelt stones, to attack the Indian army and the country as a whole. And Tony Ashai has some friends in Mumbai, and you can't deny that fact. Aishwarya, these are some very pertinent questions that will have to be asked.
Absolutely, Niranjan, and those celebrities, those Indian citizens who have gotten in touch or basically are in a corporate relation with this man have to know his close proximity with none other but the present Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. The way he sits right next to him, shoulder to shoulder, and the way in which he talks literally crap about India. And how can an Indian citizen and how can a man who's respected, who has been given love, who has been given credibility, who has been given everything by India, can go and can be seen in close relationship with this man? This man, in the name of trying to support the Pakistani Prime Minister, has been speaking everything which is factually wrong. And he says he has called India names to the point that it cannot be said on air. So all of those celebrities, all of those Bollywood A-listers who have been in commercial relation with this man, who calls himself a Kashmiri American, on the social networking side, really need to understand that this man, just to earn money, just to sit shoulder to shoulder with the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan and then the other top very officials, whether it's the ISI, whether it's the Pakistani army, he has spoken ill about India. And to get into a close relationship, whether it's a commercial relationship or otherwise, with such individuals who have been openly supporting anti-India sentiment as far as the state of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, and stating clearly, as you also said, that he has openly called the Indian army as a land grabber. A man who deals in property, a man
army as a land grabber.
He's calling the Indian army as a land grabber. And then the Indian Bollywood A-listers really need to think, yes, you need to earn money, but how and where? That is something which really needs to be looked into, Niranjan, because such individuals, in the name of activists, they are doing everything which is against India.
Yeah, and let me also tell you, as far as there is another person, and some of the valid questions that we will have to ask, and let me ask some of those questions as well, because there was a tweet that was put out, and that was the starting point of this conversation, Aishwarya. The tweet was by Panda, the Vice President of the BJP, who said, came across shocking threads documenting personal and business links of some Bollywood personalities with certain Pakistanis and NRIs with undeniable track record encouraging violence in J&K, who have verifiable links to ISI and Pakistani army. I urge patriotic Bollywoodies to renounce them. He hasn't named anybody. Like I said, once again I'll say it. There's nothing wrong if you have Pakistani singers or actors as your friends, because at one point you worked with them. We're not saying that is wrong, but what we are saying is if you have close business links or business ties with people from Pakistan who are spreading an anti-India propaganda, calling army land grabbers, asking for violence
Team
in
B
Kashmir,
of the ISI.
And let
They
me
are
just
Team
read
B
out,
of
because
ISI.
there is another. Yeah, exactly, Pakistan ISI, and
they are those fundraisers of the ISI
but,
who have settled in the US and the UK.
Anil Musarat. Yes, Aishwarya. Yeah. Well, they're all over UK and the US. Anil Musarat, let me tell you about him. He's a British national of Pakistani origin. Real estate tycoon in the UK, donated funds to Imran Khan's PTI, has close links with Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. He's been spotted with the ISI and Pakistani army chief, very close to many Bollywood personalities as well. In the past, he's been seen with top families. I think Anil Kapoor's family, Karan Johar, Ranveer Singh, Sonam Kapoor. Now, these are people who like to hobnob with Bollywood. And I think it's...
problem is with these Indian Bollywood A-listers who exactly know everything. If you are getting into a multi-million-dollar infrastructure deal with an individual, Niranjan, if these Bollywood A-listers are getting into a multi-million-dollar deals, commercial deals with these individuals, they are aware who they are. The kind of detailing which goes into to basically really find out the background of an individual before you get into a multi-million-dollar deal, it's known to all. Both of these names which you've taken are no one but Team B of the ISI. They are the ones in the name of which ISI collect foreign funds. And what happens with those foreign funds is known to all, including these Bollywood A-listers. So they need to understand. It is one thing to be in connect with the artist from across the border, but it is something which is completely different to be in touch with such individuals who are not only Team B of the ISI but are doing anti-India work in the name of Kashmiri activism. They are anti-India in their stance, they are active, they are anti-India in every sentence they speak. And if the Indian Bollywood A-listers who have been given tremendous amount of love and care by Indians, they need to be very, very careful.
We have some questions.
With whom are you
We have
getting
some
into
questions.
this commercial deals with? Yeah, Niranjan.
Yeah, we have some questions. We have some questions based on the some of the business deals that are coming to the forefront that are being pointed out. I just want to read out some of the questions. Pertinent question to ask: should Bollywood declare any links to pro-Pakistan, pro-terror, pro-anti-India individuals and groups? Now, it's a very serious matter. If there are actors in Bollywood, families in Bollywood that have links to such elements, they should openly declare it, because these elements are, as we speak, on the 22nd of July, asking for anti-army, anti-India violence on Twitter, and it's open. You can go to Tony Ashai's timeline on Twitter, his page on Twitter, and you will see so much of hate against India, the country, for the Indian army, for the people of India, stoking violence in Kashmir, saying why are people of Kashmir, asking why people of Kashmir are quiet and why they're not picking up stones. Richa, like I was saying, some of the questions that we are asking, people like Tony Ashai and those who are associated with him, should Bollywood declare any links to pro-Pakistan, pro-terror, anti-India individuals and groups? Should Bollywood renounce such links with Pakistanis who take a pro-terrorist line, openly pro-terrorist line, and abusing the Indian army? And is a top actor's links with this ISI stooge personal or professional or both? And a question also to SRK and his wife Gauri, whether they have any links. We're asking a question, do you have links with Tony Ashai, who's asking for violence in the valley and asking Kashmiris to come out and ensure that there are violence on the streets of Kashmir, and while calling army names, while accusing the army of being land grabbers? Let me remind them of some of the statements that Tony Ashai has made. Tony Ashai has called the Indian army land grabbers. He's insulted the Indian flag. He lionizes terrorist Burhan Wani. He peddles fake news against the Indian army, and he's plotted against India actively with Pakistan. Seen hobnobbing with ISI and also Imran Khan, and has business associations in Bollywood. Close business associations, and he's openly admitted them on Twitter. I think it's a very serious story. I'm handing it back to you now for Richa. We're going to track the story very, very closely, because this is a very, very serious allegation that has been made by the BJP Vice President, and the story is getting very interesting.